how's it going? It's the off night. And I'm here with Mark Sweetman. He's a great guy. You're going to enjoy the show tonight. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of Star Trek. We got a lot of stuff happening. It's all over the box. And it's all over Detroit. I'm Detroit in my head, Detroit in my chest. You got to go to a place, get some donuts, go to Duck Donuts. But first, before you do that, please welcome Mark Sweetman.
Hey, all right. My sidekick, Andy Jensen. Hey, good to see you.
Good seeing you, too. How's it going?
I almost thought you weren't going to make it. I thought you had another trip to South Bend there for a second.
I did. I did have one possibly lined up. I was like right at the bus station. Then she called and said, could you come on Thursday? I said, well, I guess, maybe. Okay, I guess, yeah.
Does she pay you for your services?
She does periodically. It's sort of like I try not to take money, but if it really is kind of like a long-term thing, I'll take it. So
you're a better man than I am.
She gifts me stuff. I'm not being paid right now. I'm just kind of trying to help her out.
Oh, you were just such a decent guy.
I know. That's probably why I look around and I see all these people who are making money, and I kind of go, what do they do? I mean, how do they do that? I'm just kind of.
Well, I would think that if people look, I don't think it takes a lot of money to make a living, and so I don't fault anybody for the living they make, and I don't think unless you're extorting money. I don't think it's bad to ask for money for services. I think driving to South Bend, Indiana, on your dime, I think you could call that a service. Although you've entered this as a friendship relationship, that's kind of hard to move it over into commerce.
Yeah. She's going to pay me after I get my last unemployment check. That's what's going to happen. Okay, that's. There we go. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. No, I don't.
It's right around the corner.
So. Listen to me being all jaded and everything. So let's get Sam out here. Then I'll have Susan read her poem. We know Andy. He's my sidekick for years and years and years, and both improvised performer and improvised trainer. He's been sidekick on other television and radio shows. He's a professional sidekick, basically, Andy Jensen. And he introduces the show each week. Now I think we're in our 17th month. So I got to go on a calendar and count up the months. But every week since probably last October, he did a couple of shows in the summer, July and August, but by October he was a regular, and we enjoy him. Veteran comic, veteran radio guy, and the thing I like most about him is he doesn't have one nice thing to say about Donald Trump. Hey, welcome back to our screen here, Sam Greenfield, everybody.
Andy, let me say this. I like to be funny, but let me say this in all seriousness. If she offered you money, take it. Okay. If she offered it, you didn't ask for it, and nor did you hold her up. She didn't say, I'll pay you X, and you say, no, I want X, but take it. If she couldn't afford it, she wouldn't offer it.
That's what I say too. And I think, don't pull yourself up by your bootstraps because you're an American. A lot of these people from other countries, you know what I mean? That is an insult if you turn down a gift from them. That's part of their.
That's correct.
That's part of their culture.
If she offered it, take it. You didn't ask for it, and as Mark said, you're going there on your dime. Okay, so absolute take it.
And gas is over $3. Gas is over $3 a gallon here in the Great Lakes area. So
I got you. Okay,
so, it's costing you more each time. Anyway, so let's get. Oh shoot,
we lost Sam.
See what happens? You know what I did? Offer money.
What?
Son of a bitch.
I'm gonna put Susan in here. She's got our topics poem. So here it is. The weekly off night topics of the week poem. Here we go.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Susan.
Okay.
I have a poem. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Taliban now take control. Afghan peace is UN goal. Biden defends the troop withdrawal. Afghan fashions, burqa and shawl. Hurricane Henri, New England slams. Derek Chauvin makes demands. COVID Sweden, no lockdown. Death rate 10 times higher found. Gates' photography of fiancé, his Twitter picture brings dismay. My Pillow's CEO Lindell has hiding safe house secrets tell. Jeopardy host Mike Richards quits. Sexist comments got the blitz. Balsam Woolly, bug is here. Christmas fir trees live in fear. That's the poem this week.
Susan.
Yes.
Susan, don't leave. I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
What demands did Derek Chauvin make?
He demanded to have the government pay for his legal defense. I can't remember the amount. It didn't make.
It was
the cut.
he wanted the whole thing paid for. Since he was an employee, he was an employee of the government. He wants the government to pay.
I didn't know there'd be a quiz either.
Oh, that's hysterical. That's hysterical.
Oh, she had another one that was funny that she didn't put in the poem, but I thought it was hilarious when she says, you know, you heard Mike Lindell now is claiming to hide in his house.
Yes.
Somebody who's being threatened or something like that.
Sequestered. He has him sequestered.
Sequestered his husband. She said, if you're telling people you have a safe house, it's no longer a safe house.
I thought the story wasn't who he said he was hiding. It's that he's telling the secret. So it's not a secret anymore.
You know, he to me is one of the most amazing dichotomies ever, because here you have a guy who was a meth addict, right?
Okay.
And kicked it, to his credit.
To his credit, yes.
And built a phenomenally successful company with American employees, made in America. And I thought, as obnoxious as I think it is that he wears a cross the size of a Buick, you know, that I admire him. I admired him. And then he just lost his mind. I mean, beyond anything you can fathom, he lost his mind.
Yeah, you know what, though?
Over a guy who wouldn't pee on him if he caught fire.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, that is the most amazing thing about this Trump cult is, I mean, they have to know he does not care.
They know they don't. No, they don't. Trust me. There's a fraternity brother of mine, white naturally, who, you know, does not understand that. He does not get that. Oh, by the way, here's a stat I think you'll enjoy. You ready?
Okay.
Since the Taliban took over, the United States has successfully flown out about 30,000 Afghanis and Americans without one loss of life. More people were killed on January 6th.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Boy, the Vietnamese got to be pissed.
Last exit my ass.
Yeah. Exactly.
But not one death.
Yeah, we haven't seen an exit this successful since we left Kuwait.
I haven't seen an exit this successful since Bruce Willis made Death Becomes Her.
Whoa! Hello.
Folks, if you just give me your attention.
Yeah. So here's
you guys talk. I'm going to turn on another light. Hang on. Go ahead, please.
Here's the thing about this whole. Well, first of all, I have to be very careful in whom I'm talking to and what the topics are around this whole thing, because, you know, there were a lot of things that I wanted to blame Trump for, and I should blame Trump for, but the people I'm talking to, because he is the Lord God Almighty, you know, to the Trump cult, you know, you risk burning their buns, you know. But I am not completely unhappy with Biden's response. Even
There's nothing to be. There's nothing. Listen.
Even the
Go ahead. I'm
response.
sorry, please.
Even the response after they started, trying to pin him down, and it's like his best answer was, "Should we stay in there 20 more years?" Obviously we should have been out. And now we're finding out he was advising Obama to get out 10 years ago.
Listen. He didn't start this war.
Nope.
Obama didn't do anything about it. Okay, Obama spun his wheels. What's his name? Trump had an agreement in place, and as usual, did nothing with it. Okay, this guy said, and I'll tell you I'll tell you in my opinion what Biden thought. Okay, he said, "I'm going to get reamed for this, but I got to do it." Okay, we can't keep leaving people in there, and please, God Almighty, don't compare this to the soldiers in Germany and Japan. Don't.
Okay.
Okay. There's no Taliban in Germany and Japan ready to put women in burqas. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got to do it. Okay.
Geisha gowns, but not burqas.
Well, one can hope. And so what I say is, at least there are negotiations going on between the Taliban. At least. So that's all you can hope for.
Well, one of the hopeful things I saw also were these young Taliban. In other words, kids that would have been 5 or 6 when the war started back after the 9/11. And these kids were in the palace, and they were like totally unexpecting what they thought they were going to see.
That's right.
They saw not a U.S. occupation of their presidential palace and their parliament building and all that stuff, but actually an Afghan institution.
Afghan presence, yes.
An Afghan presence.
And by the way,
I'm hopeful.
I don't hear nearly enough about the president of Afghanistan who left with enough money to fill, and I'm not kidding, 4 cars. Yeah. 169. Not a word of condemning him. I didn't expect him to stay and get shot, but at least to say, let's negotiate. Let's see if we can get a peaceful. Nothing. They had been calling Afghanistan a kleptocracy, which I like. Sort of a. Oh, that's very funny.
Isn't that good? Because what they were doing was the leaders were taking whatever they could for a lot of this stuff. So they're almost like, how doctors write prescriptions for opioids?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And they're not really for the people they're writing them for. They end up going out on the street.
That's correct.
That's pretty much what the Afghan military was doing, saying, oh, yeah, we need training for these things. We need money for this. We need money for that. They never bought these things that they said they needed the money for. They were going to somebody who was a mob leader,
Well, when I had I forget what it was, but I think I broke a rib a few months, like a year ago. And my doctor prescribed Oxycontin for me.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. And but here's what he did. I didn't pay for it. I didn't pay for it. He got it for me. And I said, why are you, and I have a really good, prescription program. So yeah, I was fine. So I said, why are you doing that? And he said, because you're going to take this 1 pill a day for 4 days. The pain will be gone after that. And then you will dump them. But I can't get you a 4-pill prescription. It is a 40-pill prescription.
Holy crap.
And I don't want you to take the other.
You know what? Now that you mention it, my doctor, my orthopedist, when I broke my ankle and my shin bone, he did the same thing for me. He said, "I'm giving you 3. Call me if it hurts on day 4."
Right. So,
I'll bring him to you. I just do not want you having all these pills.
Well, this doctor and I've had long. He's been my hematologist since I had cancer. He's been my doctor for 2.5 years, and so one of the things he discussed about me, and one of the things he knows about me, and I'm very lucky about this. I don't have an addictive personality. So he said, after the 4, go to the bathroom, take off the cap, and turn it upside down into the toilet. And I said, okay. And he said, "You can do that?" I said, "No, I want to walk the streets like a brain dead junkie." "Yes, of course I can." "Oh, sure." And so I did. I turned it upside down, and then I came to my senses and scooped them up and sold them to this kid next door. No, no, and I got rid of them. But the four was all I needed. That's all I needed.
Now there's some sea bass out there, looking for a fix now. You know that, right?
It's very sad.
Yeah. So all these things that we're saying about the Afghans and our hope and everything, we're saying it to defend Biden. Now the other side is using those same issues to attack,
to condemn Biden.
Yeah. Isn't that telling?
Well, it's there are two stories that I can't stop thinking about or reading about. One is that, okay, the whole Afghan, and I think that's going to turn out. I do believe it's going to turn out better than people think. Yeah. And the second story is Larry Elder. Larry Elder, you know who he is. Larry Elder is maybe, and this is a tough one for me, but maybe one of the 2 or 3 worst public figures I have ever interviewed in my life. When I interviewed him, there are 2 people who I would never interview again because of the level of evil, and there's no other word, in their soul.
Wow.
It's him and it's Wayne LaPierre. Because Wayne LaPierre is a death merchant. And a thief. Yeah. But Larry Elder is proposing things. Bill Maher talked about this. If Larry Elder wins, I don't think he can win, but if he wins, and Dianne Feinstein retires, he's going to appoint a Republican that's going to crack the Senate.
Yeah.
But
they got, they got to change.
Larry Elder went to the University of Michigan Law School, so that kind of explains how much evil he's got. So
he really did.
I think so. Yeah, I looked him up a little bit.
That's a good law school.
What's that?
That's a good law school.
It's a great law school. Yes. Yes. So he's gonna be tough to beat. He wants to have zero.
Women won't vote for him. Women won't vote for him.
Before
he wants zero.
I like to
remind
everybody before we start praising University of Michigan graduates and the great education they got. I'd like to remind everybody that the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, was a U of M graduate. So,
but look how skilled he was.
He was very skilled. Oh, the letters were perfect.
Barbara has a great.
The fact that he lived in a room and rode a bicycle means he was environmentally friendly.
Let's not be judgmental. Barbara has a great. Barbara used to close her show with a great joke about him. She said, "Can you imagine him bringing over Christmas gifts? No, you open it. No, you open it."
That is a great joke.
They love your joke, Badge.
I love it. Oh, that's
you
funny.
Open it. No, you open it.
That's funny. Good. You know what's great about that joke? There's going to be another bomber. And people will have forgotten Ted's got. So we just open that little package up again every time.
All.
It's every time there's a school shooting, it's kind of gross now because I wrote the joke 40 years ago when I said, this joke, Andy, where I said, I never knew I had the option. I just took an F, because the kid that shot up his school because his assignment wasn't done. So he figured I think he called in a bomb threat or. He called in a bomb threat. That was it. And I said, I never knew I had the option. I always took the F.
There you go.
But every time there's a bombing or a school function or something like that, and it involves academics.
Oh my God, is that funny?
I get to bring that joke back. That and my hooker joke with the Asian massage parlors, where I say every time that there's a story about an Asian massage parlor, I always do the story about how there's that guy in the squad room. The commander of the squad room going, all right, any of you officers not investigated this place yet? Charlie, calm down. You've been in 5 times.
Oh, that's great.
Let's these rookies get a shot here. Anybody not investigated? Have I got a report from everybody? All right.
Yeah, that was the Ann Arbor Police Department about 10 years ago. I get a story,
but I get a news story like that like every 18 months. So it revives that bit.
That's wonderful.
He's on the massage parlor watch. There we go.
Messiah. Yeah, I'm on the Messiah. I have it in my Google Google notifications, news
Yeah, I was
notifications.
talking to a comedian the other day, and we were talking about comics who had really good careers going in the late 80s and early 90s. And I don't know where they are now.
Okay,
I don't know where they are.
I've caught up with a few of them.
The Amazing Jonathan.
Oh, I know where he is.
Where is he?
He's out in L.A. or he's still in Las Vegas, rather.
Yeah.
He's in Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this about him or not. There's a documentary, and I don't know if it's on Hulu or Prime, but you've got to see. Is it on Hulu? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Oh, is there? I haven't watched it really yet. Not yet.
I stayed with him when he lived in San Francisco. I stayed with him for a week.
Oh yeah.
He let me stay with him.
Well, I know him from before he moved. Well, a little bit before he moved to San Francisco.
When he wore the leather, leather.
Yeah. Well, he worked the same shit joints in Detroit that we did. He's from East Detroit.
Yeah, I know.
So he worked.
Well, that's why I asked about him specifically.
Yeah, he's. I've seen him in the last couple of years, but he had. Well, he may or may not have had a heart condition. You got to see the movie.
I heard that he had a heart condition.
Yeah, well, you got to see the movie because it may have been a stunt. It may have been a big magician's trick.
Oh,
because he's still around. He only had 6 months to live, and he did this final tour, and that was 3 years ago. So,
yeah.
But you got to see them. Some kid. There was a documentary done about it, and the documentary becomes more about making the documentary than it was about the Amazing Jonathan. It's a good movie. It's not going to win any awards, but you're watching it and you're going, it's just pure luck that this movie got put together like this.
And then somebody who was a very close friend of his, A. Whitney Brown.
A. Whitney Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Now we've talked about him on the show. I think we looked him up one time. He's down in Austin. He married a singer-songwriter who's got a career, and so he's basically just supporting his wife down in Austin, Texas.
And Jonathan was linked up with a woman. I don't know her real name, but she went by the name Destiny.
Destiny, I remember her too. I haven't seen now her. I don't know. I'd have to ask Jonathan next time I see him what happened to her.
Joe Bolster.
Joe Bolster. I remember when we were young. Wasn't Joe Bolster the guy that was going to hit it? Not Jerry Seinfeld. It was going to be Joe Bolster.
And the thing that people loved about Bolster was, and this was true, he was technically flawless.
He was.
But you remember what happened to him on Star Search?
Yes, he ate it.
Do you know Andy?
He just froze.
Andy, do you know what happened to him?
No. What happened?
All right, Andy, I want you to imagine you're on Star Search. What do you have? 2 minutes, right? You have 2 minutes to do your act, too.
Yes.
He froze. He just stopped. He didn't. He didn't goof up words. He stopped. And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. 30 seconds.
Oh yeah. But it seemed like
25% of the time he was on 30 seconds.
But it seemed like it had to seem like 5 minutes to him. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, because if you're a comic, one of the things I hated, and one of the reasons I was reluctant to watch comics do their set, especially on open mics, is when they ate it. I can't watch that. I'm scratching my hand now. I hate it. And to watch this guy who was really funny, had one of the great jokes. You know the joke about when he got bumped from the Tonight Show?
Yeah.
No.
Let me tell Andy.
Okay.
So he's on the Tonight Show, and Fred DeCordova says to him, "Listen, we're running late. We're gonna have to bump you, but we'll have you back on." And Joe says, "Well, do I get paid?" He goes, "Yeah, of course you do." He goes, "And I get the hotel room?" "Yeah." And I get the airfare? He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Shit, bump me." Bump my dog. Yeah, that was just great. Right. But and a nicer guy you'll never meet. I mean, he had everything. But that was horrible.
Now, along that same vein, Brian Regan had that show at the Montreal Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. And his management is so good that I can't find that on YouTube anymore. I mean,
that's good.
That's good.
By the way, speaking of Michiganders who have screwed their own career, let's take a trip down. Let's take a trip down Sinbad Way.
Oh, what did he do?
I know. I'm going to tell you why you don't know this story.
Okay.
I'm watching. Remember, Bob Costas had that late night show where people sat in big comfy chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sinbad's on.
Okay.
Okay. And Sinbad. This is what amazes me. Sinbad told this story. I would have never told this story about myself. He's on a different world.
I remember.
And he didn't like the script. Right.
All right.
So he makes up his own lines, which including taglines, which completely throws off the other actors because now they're not getting the cue they're supposed to have.
Right.
So the EP, says cut. He walks over to Sinbad. He goes, "Have you lost your goddamn mind? What are you doing? You're screwing these other people. Don't do that. Come on, man. What the hell's wrong with you?" And Sinbad told this story. So I'm not like making this up as I go. He goes, so I told the guy, I said, "Listen, I'm smiling now and I'm looking real happy. You talk to me that way again, I'll break your fucking neck.
Wow.
I'll break it right here. I'll break it right here." And correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen him on episodic TV since.
Yeah.
He does concert shows.
He does live concert shows.
But he has not been on episode, and that show was successful.
Yeah. It was.
That show was successful. That show ran 6 or 7
and
years.
He was on it. He was on it a while, so he was into his job.
He was one of the main deals. He was one of the main deals.
Yeah, he was into his job a few years before that happened.
And the thing that amazes me about it is, except for that one moment of complete insanity, he was very smart about his career.
Yeah.
He was the first comic I knew who had a laptop. Okay, who brought off the laptop a fax with him.
Yeah,
his family was his corporation. And the story was, when he got out of the Air Force, he would go to clubs all over the United States, and this is what he would do. He'd say, let's say Birmingham, Alabama. Okay, he'd say, "Hi, I'm Sinbad. That's the name I go by. I'd like to audition for you tonight. I'll do 10 minutes. If I suck, you'll never see me again. I swear to God, I won't bug you. But if I kill, I want to work here." And I'm not exaggerating, within 2 months, he was headlining at clubs. In Birmingham, he headlined 2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
So he was very, very smart.
That's James Gregory territory.
That's right. That's right. Minus the 17-year-old boy. So yes, that's it. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
And I saw the guy, and all I could think of was 2 words coming out of his mouth. "Help me." Help me. Just help me. So, Sinbad was very, very smart about and all of a sudden to say something, first of all, to do something that's stupid. But the one thing I remember about Sinbad, whenever I was around him or worked with him, and this is coming from me, okay, there was not a nanosecond of silence. He could not stop talking. And Bobby Kosser, who I don't know if you know him.
I remember Bobby Kosser, glasses, the Coke bottle glasses.
Intellectual looking guy.
Yeah.
He's on the Letterman show.
Right.
And we're watching the show, and Sinbad is mouthing his punchlines. You can hear him 5 seconds before Bobby says them, while we're watching it in the condo. And one of the other comics says, "Sinbad, stop that. We're watching him." And it was like the guy didn't say anything. He just kept doing it and kept doing it. And I said, he's a really terrific comic. I said to the other guy, I said, but I think he's nuts. I do. I think there's something wrong. There's a reason he didn't stay in the military.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't like, "You're doing such a great job." No, he was kicked out. There's something missing there. But he was a great comic.
That can make for great comedy.
And when he was on the he was the second what was that guy? John Kassir won the second Star Search. Okay.
Yeah.
And beat Sinbad.
Right.
Wow.
And Sinbad, when they go, this is so funny. I remember all 4 semifinalists. It was Sinbad, Rosie O'Donnell, Ron Gallup, and John Kassir. Was
John Kassir the guy that did the pants?
Crib Keeper.
Okay, I got it. All right. Yep.
Crib Keeper. And 1,000 other voices.
Right.
And so one of the judges on one of the judges on Star Search that night was Dionne Warwick.
Oh, wow.
And one of the other judges was I don't remember the guy's name, but he was a manager, and two of his acts they were women. Okay. And Sinbad comes up and he's wearing something that looks like he lost a bet. And he says to these, he says, he grabs the mic and he goes, man, if you take your women shopping, you might as well bop yourself in the head. Because, women don't work. They take your money. And I'm watching Dionne Warwick and I'm thinking, this woman has earned her own way for half a century. And this manager is managing women who could buy Sinbad and resell him 3 times. And he's doing this act about how women are sponges and women are, so he lost. And Kazir did a really good job, but he lost. And so the next day they have a champions breakfast. Okay, so it was the 4 people, their managers, Ed McMahon, Mrs. McMahon, Vince McMahon, any McMahon, And so,
Jim McMahon was there from the Bears.
with one good eye, God bless him. But Sinbad didn't show up. Sinbad did not show up.
Wow.
And I thought, it doesn't cost anything just to be gracious. I mean, you finished second for Christ's sake.
Actually, McMahon had his daughter on the production team.
His daughter went on to work at Fox News. She was a big deal at Fox News. As not an EP, but a producer and documentary and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. But he did not show up. And I don't know what kind of money he has now, and I don't care. But it's just that his career was so carefully worked out and so meticulous, and then all of a sudden, nothing.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
Well, but he did it to himself. Some people have this shit happen, and it's a twist of fate against them. But here's a name that was hot for a while and is dead. Listen to us, we're like vultures, but I am. Rick Reynolds.
Yeah.
Rick Reynolds was managed by, Rollins Joffe.
Right. Well, he didn't have that one-man show about growing up as a beaten stepchild or something like that. Wasn't that Rick Reynolds? Yeah.
And he did something I thought was so ballsy. Montreal Comedy Festival. He's the 3rd act up. First 2 guys come up. They, finish. He comes up and he goes, "Is it me or did those 2 guys suck?"
Wow.
And I thought,
wow.
Shit. Where are you going out for a drink after this? Oh man. Yeah. And then I'll tell you someone who didn't have a great career to start, and I saw him on his Showtime special, and I don't know what he's doing now, but he killed Orny. Remember Orny Adams?
I worked with Orny Adams a couple of years ago. He was doing great.
He killed, and he was in that documentary with Seinfeld, the comedian.
Yes, yep.
And one of the best things I've ever seen was he's talking to this waitress, and he's trying to hit on her, right? And he says, she says, "What do you do?" He says, "I'm a comedian." She says, "Are you?" He goes, "Look at this." And he opens up the local Montreal newspaper, and it says, "Comedian Orny Adams knocked the crowd for a loop, blah, blah." She goes, "I don't believe that." He goes, "What do you mean? What woman would name her child Orny?" But he was so,
Orny Adams.
He's one of those guys that had like 500 notebooks.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he comes to town. He comes to the castle once a year because he's got a different show every year.
But a nice guy, nicer guy you can't meet.
Yeah.
No problem with Orny.
Orny Adams. Adam Ornstein is his real name. That's
correct. But easy to work with. Nice guy. No
yeah,
hassle.
Great guy.
No. And a lot of people don't like him.
I wonder why.
Because he's so driven.
Yeah.
But he doesn't take it out on you.
No.
He's self-driven.
I tell you what, he did something. He does the merch table harder than anyone I've ever seen. Usually, and
you haven't met Chuck Mangioni's father.
That just sounds like it was made up. Chuck Mangioni's
No, I'm
father.
telling you, Chuck Mangioni's father.
Does he
I
work the
swear to
merch
God.
table?
Oh my God. Oh my God. He would sell crack at a Cocaine Anonymous meeting. Oh my God. Oh my God. I looked at him and he literally did this and he got away with it. Like somebody walks by and he goes, "You buying or you looking?" I went, "Holy shit, Pop, give him 3 seconds." They just stopped by. Correct. And who else did that? Not to that extent. Oh, here's someone I haven't heard from. Spanky.
Oh yeah.
His
Another
name.
nice guy.
Yeah. I just saw him pop up on Facebook like a couple months ago, and I hadn't heard from him in years. But he now at least has a social media presence. Maybe he wasn't on social media, so everybody thought he was
Steve McFarland.
Steve McFarland. That's Spanky. Right?
He said he I loved working with him. He just the nicest. He said to me, "Sam, for the rest of my life, I'm going to remember one thing you did when we worked together, and every time I think about it, I'm going to put my hand on my heart because I love you for doing this." And I had no idea what he was talking about. There was a guy we were 2 of us. We flipped a coin. I went first. I didn't get shit. Neither did he. There's a guy in the audience who's talking. And I looked at him, and Whitney Brown taught me this. Don't yell at the guy. Just look at him. Look at him.
Yeah.
And when you catch eye contact, go like that. And the guy kept going, "What'd you say? What'd you say?" Like that, like an asshole. "What'd you say?"
Right.
So I said, "Let me tell you what I said, you gutless turd. I asked you to stop talking, but you think you're showing off to your girlfriend. Now look over at her face. Does this look like a girl who's going to say, 'Oh, I've always wanted to put out for a moron, and I found one'?" And I could, and Steve had a laugh that sounded like the opening of Wipeout. And
with the drums and everything.
Most amazingly, yes. And he gets on stage and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know Sam Greenfield, but a set of balls the size of a car just walked off this stage." And I said, so after the show, we're having a drink, and I said, "Why did you say that?" He said, "Because you're a good guy, but I don't think you can fight." And that guy, and he said, he said, for the first time, and I'd known him forever. He said, "For the first time since I've known you, I think you were ready to deal. I think you would have said, 'Well, he may bust my eye, but I'm going to kick the shit out of that son.'" And he was right. I was never that angry on stage. I mean, I didn't show it, but I wanted to kill that guy. Kill him. And fortunately, management walked up to him and said, "One more word, and you and your girlfriend are in your car headed home." And that's exactly what you should say. Right. One more word. We'll stop the show. We'll throw you out. Spanky will know what to say, but you're leaving. And he shut up. And I was watching from the back, and his girlfriend, I don't think it was his girlfriend, I think that's what you call a last date. His girlfriend would look over and go, "You stupid son of Jesus." And she's going like this, "You God," like that. And when they started to walk out, he reached for her hand and she gave it the old Melania.
Oh, wow.
Snatched it right away.
Wow.
And so I'm standing there and Steve says, "Are you going to say something?" I go, "Oh, I don't know. Probably not." And as he walks by, I go, "Did you like the show?" "Oh, wasn't it great? How about that Spanky?" How about that Spanky? Oh, God.
Hey, here's something about you. Back to Orny Adams. He's never done an open mic. He's never tried out new material.
Isn't that amazing?
He writes it, rewrites it again, knows his cadence, his style,
right,
and then presents it as if he's saying it for the first time. Obviously, he's not, but
he's almost like, and I mean this as a compliment, he's almost like a playwright.
Carlin was like that. Carlin wrote and rewrote everything. Although Carlin would work that small. He had that small room in Vegas. I can't remember which hotel it was, but it was sort of off. It wasn't like the big room and he wasn't billed, but he would at least work out his, that worked, that didn't work. But
Well,
Orny,
Joan Rivers did that. Joan Rivers would go to these tiny little clubs. And when I say tiny, oh, that was another great Joe Bolster line. How was the audience? He goes, the crowd wore a white shirt.
is he still working? We should try to find him.
I have no idea. No idea.
He
was dating this woman, blonde. I can't remember her name now. And she has now been on QVC. Is QVC the one in Florida?
Yeah.
She has been on QVC as a host. Got to be a decade.
Oh God, I know who you're talking. Is it? I can't think of her name now. I know who you're talking about.
I have her on Facebook, and I can't think of her name.
Yeah, so do I. I feel bad now.
Don't feel bad. She doesn't remember us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So no, I don't feel bad. It's not. I wasn't married to her. You meet a lot of people. Yeah. I cannot remember her name. Look, it's bad enough I remember Brett Butler. I would trade.
Oh, man.
I would trade. What an angry woman. Jesus Christ. How did she get on Walking Dead?
Brett Butler?
Oh.
She was on Walking Dead.
Really?
Yep.
Hey, discuss, you guys. I got somebody at my door. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, she was on Walking Dead.
Yeah.
They had a list
she did
of
some
people
bit
who
parts
were murdered
on
by the zombies, and she was one of them.
Yeah, she did a bit part on My Name is Earl. As a couple, she progressively did a couple of bit parts periodically. She was okay in each one of those.
If
but
she could stop talking, let me rephrase that. If she could stop being so mad, she'd work more. She canceled her own series.
I remember that.
She canceled her. She humiliated this little boy. She threw a Coke can at a producer. Yep. Oh man! I mean,
they still run. I still see that show running reruns though.
Grace Under Fire.
Yeah.
I assume she had a good agent, so she's probably getting a piece of it. And she probably, I know she was I know what she was making. So she's not married. She doesn't have kids, so she's probably fine.
Everybody after what was it? There's trying to think of the I think everybody after what's his name? The comic that did his act as a TV show.
Gary Shandling.
Yes, everybody after that, I think Roseanne, Tim Allen, Drew Carey, Brett Butler, all of those comics got executive producer credit and an ownership on part of the show. Well,
and also, I think this is true of most of them. It would say at the end, based on the comedy stylings or comedy performance of.
Yes.
In other words, this is from my act.
Right.
Especially with Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, he hired writers to turn some of the material from his, especially on the second show, into his Vegas act.
Well, he did. That's right.
Because he wasn't writing, once he got the TV show, he wasn't writing material anymore because I can understand why. I mean,
why exactly? Why not? I mean, exactly.
everything got burned up, and you can't. You're taking 12 years to build up your act. And
now it's going in 7 months. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So you really do.
I'm trying to remember this when the Seinfeld show first started. Okay, the original, and I don't remember all the names, but the original writers were Steve Scrovan, John Heyman. Carol Leifer, I think Carol Leifer, maybe.
Carol Leifer.
Yeah, and for like 2 or 3 years. And then Jerry said to them, to Larry David, okay, your friends wrote for the show. Now it's my friend's turn. And they dumped them. They just got, but here's the thing. If you write for a hit show, you're fine. You're doing fine. You'll get something else. What's his name? Brian Kiley. Wrote for Conan for 27 years, just got a job on Ellen. So, he went from a, highly intellectual, high-minded comedian to a woman who would stab you in the throat for a bagel. So,
he got the job as she's retiring.
Who is? She is?
She's retiring the show.
Yeah, I know. It's funny about that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she almost has to. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not.
it wasn't like, yeah, it was by popular demand.
Yeah.
She, I've never seen anybody, well, Cosby, I know this sounds funny, leave the sexual assaults aside, but in terms of personality, okay, Cosby and Ellen pulled the biggest fast ones on the American public in terms of who they actually are and what they actually portrayed.
Got it.
Because Ellen, just, oh, peace and love, and I'm funny and I'm charming, and she's a bitch. She is. I mean, years ago when she was just, a comedian, okay, she wasn't Ellen. When she was a comedian, she would tour the country and she'd have a girlfriend, in LA, right? And she would, let's say, go to a club in Miami, and she'd meet a waitress, and she would pick up the waitress, and she would fly the waitress back to LA and kick her girlfriend out.
Wow.
And I remember Jonathan Katz was appearing on the Letterman show, and I knew him, and he invited me to watch the show, be in the audience.
Right.
And Jack Lemmon was the guest. And Jack Lemmon pissed me off so bad because he took 2 segments to tell a story that everybody sitting here knows is bullshit. It's the one about an old man's walking down the street and a brick building falls all, and then a cop walks over and says, "Are you comfortable?" He goes, "I make a living." Okay. And he made that sound like it happened in front of him. And it really made me mad because Jack Lemmon must have a treasure trove of actual stories. Treasure trove. And you could see Letterman, he didn't say anything because it's Jack Lemmon, but he was like,
right.
That's the one you're going with? Yeah. So he went so long, they bumped Ellen. So at the end of the show, and I'm sitting there because I'm going to have dinner with Jonathan Katz. He said, "Stay where you are. Someone will come get you. So Ellen's walking around the stage. Show's over. Audience is gone. Walking around the stage. And Bill Sheft, who wrote for Letterman, looks up at me, points to her, and I hope you can see this, and goes like that. And I said to him, and I didn't know anything about her. And I said, what was that about? He goes, "I've never been happier to see someone bumped in my whole goddamn life." Jesus Christ. He said, I hope they come back tomorrow and bring a guy who tells the same story in French. I fucking hate her. And I go, "Why?" And he went into detail about, what she's like, and it just, she's not a good person. And Cosby, I told you the story. He made a production assistant tie his shoe while he was on the phone. I mean, Jesus Christ, Well,
I'm not sure if I got to Cosby's position, I wouldn't be doing that too. So I can't.
Well, just make sure it's a woman.
Well, get some loafers for crying out loud,
Yes,
You need loafers.
Yeah, well, how about a little Velcro, brother? What do you think?
Crying out loud.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I think, I don't know. I guess after a while, I think we're all tempted to pull a, "You know who I am? Do you know who I am?" And we're all tempted to do that.
I'll tell you my dream. Some asshole says to somebody, "Do you know who I am?" And I want the guy to go, "Yes."
You can't do that in a Santa suit.
Yes, I do.
You can't do that in a Santa suit. I can tell you that. People will get angry. It's like, "Kid, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?"
Do you know who I am? That's very funny.
That's hysterical.
That is very funny. That is very.
Oh my God,
hey,
is that great? Oh my God. Yes,
if I ever get a sitcom or a series, that's going in. I'll pay you for it, but that's going in.
That's the opening line. The show opens at Christmas shopping at a department store, and there's Santa going, "Do you know who I am? Do you know?" Oh God, that's great.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of opening, about 3 weeks ago, we discussed this idea I had for a TV show, and I'm not going to say anything right now. But my writing partner is having me write something for the first time. I mean,
you talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to him a couple of times recently. Not talk to him in person. We're going to have lunch when I'm out there in a couple of weeks. But in past pitches, he
Hold on,
said,
"I'll be back. Hang on."
Yeah. All right, you can hear me though, right? I can keep talking.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, he can hear me. But in past pitches, and you know who I'm talking about, right?
Who, me?
Yeah. Do you know
Who
who
are
I'm
you
talking
talking
about?
about?
Gary Hardwick.
Oh, yeah, Gary Hardwick. Yeah, of course.
He's the guy I pitch with out in Hollywood. Anyway, in
Yeah.
past pitches, he said, you don't write anything. I'm thinking, we'll go in with a sample script. He goes, no. All they want is a 5-minute pitch. And if they like that, we'll get money from them to write the pilot. I go, oh, if you go in there with a script, they got nothing, and you give them the script, you've just given it to them, So, and since he sells 2 scripts a year, which keeps his nut. If he sells more than that, he retires earlier. But I mean, to make his living, he can do it on 2 scripts. And I've seen some of the things that gets produced. It's it makes me wonder why I can't get anything done. But anyway, but this time he said you need a script. So I've worked on that today at the beach. My wife wanted to go to the beach. I go, that's fine as long as I can take my phone and type character development with my thumb.
Wow,
But when we're not broadcasting, when we're not streamcasting, I'll probably give you a little bit
somebody
more.
told me the secret to getting something produced is appeal to the actor. You find an actor that wants it.
That's what he said. And when we're not on the air, after we wrap the show up and we're talking afterwards, I'll tell you who's in the running for for who we're contacting on this.
Got it.
Oh, you don't have to say my name. It's fine.
Sam, I'm sorry.
Sam.
If I'm going to cast Andy as Santa Claus for that one line, I'm going to cast you for something. There'll be something for you.
Well, I appreciate that. I do need the money as Santa Claus. Yes.
Sam, you'll be the waiter when the show has to go to New York for some scene.
That would be perfect. I used to make. This is one of my favorite things as a waiter. You walk up to a table. You got to be able to read people that that they're good folks. Right. I go like this. Hello, my name is Sam Greenfield. I'm your waiter. I'm here to bring mirth and happiness to your dining experience. and then you sigh. You go, I suppose you want something to drink, and I'm assuming it's alcoholic. Madam, black flag with a twist. They eat it up, man. They eat it up. It's the, we thought we were having a hurricane here. And what happened was there was no hurricane in New York City.
It hit Rhode Island.
What there was on Sunday when I work at the MoMA is rain, tons of rain. Mm-hmm. So I go to work now, and they close we have an outdoor terrace. They close the terrace, obviously. And I'm new there. So I said to one of the other servers, I said, you think we're going to do okay? And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, if you're visiting New York and it's raining outside, is there a better place to go than the Museum of Modern Art?
Good point.
And he said, and while you're here, I'm hungry. And you find out that the restaurants, there are 3 restaurants there.
Right.
He said the restaurants are supervised by and this is true, by a phenomenal chef. Young guy, under 40. And
Aren't they all?
we killed.
Wow.
We killed.
Wow.
There was not an empty seat from 11 to 5. Not an empty seat.
Wow.
Now, if Kathy was with us tonight, she'd be able to tell you the restaurant at our art institute, because they serve a meal there, but it's sort of like I guess you'd call it a Renaissance meal. Like it's not Renaissance Fest type. It's not like you got a turkey stick in your hand or something. but it's like there's a name for it too, and I can't think of what it is. And I don't know if they do it regularly or if it's just a seasonal thing.
What they have here is they'll have like cured salmon with pickled beets on a slice of 2 slices of rye bread with cream cheese, and underneath the coating is everything bagel coating.
Wow.
I like that.
Okay. They have that. They have so much food is so goddamn.
You bring up pickled beets. I've realized that all these foods that I hated when I was young, all they had to do was
now.
Oh yeah, they just had to pickle them for me.
That's all.
And just
See, I like beet. I always like beets anyway, but pickled beets are they're just out of this world. The food is just so goddamn good. They have a cold corn soup. I could eat 3 bowls of that. I mean, this guy is just.
Now, do you have a local food movement in New York like we have here in Detroit?
Like a locavore?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh,
Well,
absolutely.
because we have.
Oh,
Well, the thing that makes Detroit unique is that there's so much vacant land because of the decline of the property values in Detroit. No, none of the old houses that they're taking out and old buildings they're taking out, they're tearing them down and they're just making these gardens. And so,
oh no, we have tons of those.
there's entrepreneurs going in and creating. In fact, I can't remember the movie that was in town, but I was driving some people in from Toronto for this movie, and they said, "Take us to the city farms," and they wanted to actually see where the place turned from ghetto to farmland. And we were like,
wow,
city.
They have a BLT. The chef has a BLT, and it's not bacon. Well, it is, but it's pork belly. And what he does, it's sliced thick, placed in a plastic bag, sealed in not boiling water, but very, very warm water. And when you take it out, it's tender and it's sweet. And then heirloom tomatoes. And
Wow.
it's just the food is so good. Did I ever tell you that line? It's one of my favorite lines from Fran Lebowitz. They asked Fran Lebowitz, "Why can't Jews eat bacon?" She goes, "Because it's delicious." Oh God!
You know,
you have no idea how true that is.
You know, what's funny. It's funny is that a lot of people will say that American music is from Black Bottom in the South on up. In other words, it was the rhythm and blues that gives you most of American music, both the jazz era and the rock era and everything. Is all the black uneducated made their own handmade instruments,
handmade guitars,
exactly.
Blind Willie Johnson,
that's music.
That's right.
The American food is essentially everything that everybody could stomach. So there's everything else is given a name, like it's Greek food or Italian food. You think of American food as like hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. But the humor is Jewish based. It seems like every joke you hear seems to have some kind of. You hear a klezmer. You hear.
That's hysterical.
It seems that way to me. Even if you hear other people, and now I've seen, blacks were able to just get into that first. But even now, you'll see like Indian kids, and I'm talking about Indian, not Native Americans. But I'm talking about the Indians. They're coming over here, and South Africans.
The guy who worked on the hell's the name of that place in Northern California, Silicon Valley.
Right. Oh yeah. But all of that is sort of it always has a Borscht Belt vaudeville flavor to it,
because comedy is based on tragedy.
Right. Yeah.
And the Jews who came over here from Europe, my grandparents, my parents, that's the life they lived. I don't know if I ever told you this. Please, well, you will stop me but it's when my father, did I tell you the story about when my father would say every night when we ate? No. My father, we're sitting at the dinner table. My father would stand up every night and go, "When my father came to this country, he had $4. Do you hear me? $4. And he made it. $4. My mother was a very quiet woman. She heard this shit her whole life. And one night she exploded. And so he goes, $4. And she looks at him and she goes, "And what did he have when he died, Rob? $9. Oh, he was a goddamn financial wizard. That guy couldn't pay rent and this is I never heard a curse. He couldn't pay rent on a fucking mousetrap. Oh my God. What a wizard. What a Rockefeller. Shut up already. He was an idiot." And we're sitting there like, holy shit. And my sister leans over and goes, "I think she's going to kill him." I do. I think she's going to stab him.
That's funny.
And so my mother told me this story about lived when she lived with her mother, my grandmother, and they had a next door neighbor, Mr. Daniel Cooper, and she said, nicest guy in the world. If my grandmother had to work, he would watch us. He's a nice man. Bring us ice cream. Couldn't be nicer guy. He died.
He wasn't Pat Cooper. He was Daniel Cooper.
No, I said nice guy.
Nice guy.
So he. Let me tell you why you suck as a comic. So he dies, and in those days, some families would have a funeral for you down the street where you lived. That was a tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Cooper's funeral was a Klan funeral.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
A Klan funeral. 45 guys carrying the casket. Not 45 guys, but 45 guys, 6 carrying the casket. Klan funeral. And so my father hated his mother-in-law, and she hated him. They hated each other. And he looks at her and goes, you going to invite him over later for a little nosh, Annie? You think the boys might want some bagels, huh, honey? You live next door to a Klansman, you dumb bitch. Oh, God. Jesus.
Speaking of great neighbors, not to take us off the topic here, but I want to get back to
Please.
Susan's poem. One of the things that she didn't get on the poem, because it's so funny, she would always complain that I gave her all the topics, the news of the week, 10 minutes before the show, and she'd have to whip something together. So I gave her everything. She doesn't have Miguel Cabrera's 500th home run, which was big news here.
Miggy.
And she doesn't have it on there because I gave her the topic Saturday night. And what does she do? She writes it in 10 minutes. So it's a 10-minute poem, whether I give her the topic Saturday night or Monday night. So.
It doesn't matter.
So she blew that one. But anyway,
Cabrera, wow.
But what I thought was great about that whole scene, because we went to a game this last week, hoping that that'd be the game. I mean, how could we not go to the game? We had Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese phenom,
the Babe Ruth of Japan.
The Babe Ruth. Mm-hmm. He's going to end up being the Babe Ruth of America if he keeps this up.
No shit.
But anyway,
that's amazing.
He hit his 40th home run the night after we were there. But anyway.
God.
And he did it while he was pitching 8 innings. 99 miles an hour. In his 8th inning, 99 miles an hour. And he's hitting home runs. It's just phenomenal.
How old is he?
He's 27.
Wow.
Is he a big guy?
He's 6'3".
So he is a big guy.
He'll be thumping him for a while. I mean, I can see where his pitching is going to diminish, but in a league with a DH, he's going to be around for a long time. And his swing is so sweet and perfect. I mean, every time they show it, it's really nice. But the thing that struck me about the home run didn't happen in Detroit. It happened in Toronto. And talk about good neighbors. The Canadians gave probably the best ovation he could have gotten outside of Detroit. They were awesome about the whole thing. And the Blue Jays, I mean, they could have been dicks about it too, because I mean, they waited and he took it. The crowd gave him a curtain call, and here the pitchers got to go back to pitching a game. This is only the 6th inning, and it's the first run this pitcher had given up. He ended up pitching a long game too, because we didn't win it until extra innings. But I mean, they were just so classy in Toronto. I mean, I've really enjoyed that.
Well, you can tell they were classy when the Raptors won, and what's his name left, the guy who led them to their championship.
I know who you're talking about.
Who's with the Clippers now?
Yep, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
They were fine with it. You gave us a championship.
So it wasn't like he got booed when he came back to town.
No. When he came back, they gave him a no. Oh, no.
You know what? The same thing happened with Gibson here when he left us for the Of course, we didn't have interleague play back then, so we weren't going to see him until he signed after he played with the Dodgers.
What is that guy's name? This is driving me nuts.
The guy from
they have names like Dave Stevens.
They do that to piss us off, Sam.
There's no question about it.
Hold on. Who's the guy that plays for the Raptors when they won but went to the Clippers? Do you know? My daughter doesn't know. So.
Well, then it's over.
It's over.
Yeah, now, if you recorded a rap album, she'd know.
Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up.
See, if I look it up, you'll lose me for 8 minutes. So you have to.
So this is a basketball player. Is that correct?
This is a basketball
player.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to look it up.
I'm not held accountable for this then. Okay.
No, you're out of the loop. You're
complete.
out of the loop. But I shouldn't be out of the loop. I should know this.
Any one of my sons were here, they'd know. Hold on just a second here.
You could just look up like the MVP of that series.
All I typed in was Raptors championship MVP, Kawhi Leonard.
There you go, Kawhi Leonard.
Hold on just a second, fellas. What's up?
Can you take me to Caitlin's when it shows then?
Might as well ask me the Quidditch.
If mom says it's okay, I'll do it. All right, fine. When the show's over.
When is the show over?
Yeah, I have a better shot at knowing the Quidditch finals than this. You know,
the Quidditch finals, 25 minutes.
The Quidditch finals. That's hysterical.
That is funny.
He's on a very funny show, by the way.
Oh,
Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh yeah,
Very funny show.
Is that on Apple TV?
Prospered. He's fun. He's a good guy.
He is a good guy. Is that on Apple TV? Because I don't think I've.
No, it's not.
He was on Wilfred. No, that was the other guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the red-haired guy is the one guy of the three. I mean, listen, I shouldn't say this. He could be doing great things in England. You know, I don't know what he's doing. But the other two, Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe, seem to be doing okay.
Yeah.
I tell you, my wife watches a lot of these British serials, and if I do ever get anything, I got to bring her along, just because I know if I ever get to Hollywood and have to sit in a writer's room and people are referencing other shows, I'm going to go, I don't know. Yeah. I got to have my wife there go, you know, right, honey? No.
Well, you know, I was watching.
Okay.
I was watching an old. They're all old now. 30 Rock. And
yeah, they are old.
There was one with Tim Conway, where he played, I think, one of the actors in like your shows, and he comes by to visit, and he's walking around, and they take him into the writer's room, and he goes, "Where are we now?" Because he hasn't been there in 30 years.
Right.
And they go, "Well, this is the writer's room." "Oh, we call this the Jew room." The Jew room.
Oh god, that must have been a riot. That must have been a riot to write on that show.
Perfect.
John Regi was showrunner the last couple. You remember John?
Yeah, that's right.
Sure, I love John.
He was showrunner the last couple.
He wrote
of
a lot
years,
of those. He was really, really on top of it. Yeah.
I was a little bit, you know, I don't want to say disappointed. I think he's probably doing a great job, whatever he's doing now. But he got after that show ended, he got a 3-series deal with one of the networks.
Good for him.
But none of them.
Smart, funny guy, always nice to me. You know, God bless him.
Yeah, great guy. But I'll never forget when I was working down in San Diego at the Improv the night he was doing his first Tonight Show, and he did a joke about, his opening joke was something about airlines, and they had a crash at LAX that night.
Oh Jesus! Jesus!
And I can't remember if they had recorded it and then the crash happened, or if the crash just happened and they said cut the joke or whatever. But anyway, it was his opening joke, and they had to cut the joke out of the. Do you
remember Fred Greenlee?
Yeah, from Texas, right? From
Houston.
Know
the story about Fred Greenlee on the Tonight Show?
No.
Fred Greenlee, somebody who worked on the Tonight Show, somebody very high up. Son committed suicide.
Oh.
Like the day before. So they told Fred, you have a bit in your act about suicide.
Wasn't that Don Carson, Johnny Carson's brother's son? Wasn't it like Carson's nephew or something?
So.
I think
so. And so they told him, drop that joke, please, because it's very pain. We're in a lot of pain here.
Right.
And he didn't drop it.
Oh, geez.
And when Johnny, obviously he didn't panel, but when
he looks over to get called over to the panel, and Johnny's got the finger salute. You know?
Yeah. Johnny's got an arrow pointing towards his penis, and so when Johnny outros him, he's applauding. you know what I'm saying when I say this. He was applauding sarcastically.
Right. Yeah.
And he goes, Fred, yes. And he goes like this. Watch my face. He goes, Fred Greenlee, everybody. Nice job, Fred. Real nice job. And kept saying it. Very nice job, Fred. Good job, Fred.
Ooh.
And I watched this, and I don't remember the comic I was watching it with, and I go, can you smell death? He goes, I smell death. And I'm sure he's going on, but I haven't seen shit from him in years.
Well, we add him to our list of people we need to talk to.
I don't know if I want to broach that.
I don't know. I think we should. I'm wondering if we shouldn't just have a spot for everybody. Whatever happened.
Who screwed up?
Oh yes.
Who screwed up on Johnny Carson? Yeah. I mean, imagine one show that can make or break your entire life. Like
forever.
You're down to 10, maybe 5 minutes.
Forever.
I tell you what, when I was out there, it was the era of Johnny Carson had not ended. He ended his run in '92, but up until May of '92 when he left the show, even Drew Carey, who was the last comic to get his first spot on the show, every comic, that was the bar. That was what you needed to get over. You could be touring with Tom Jones for 8 years, and you're nobody because you haven't done the Carson show yet.
And I'll tell you something else. The difference between Carson and Letterman in what we're talking about now, is that Carson liked comedians.
Yeah.
And John and Dave had no use for them.
Yeah.
Wouldn't play around with them. Wouldn't joke with them. He had friends who he used all the time.
Yeah, George Miller and Jimmy Walker.
George Miller and Witherspoon.
Yeah.
And for a while, Jeff Altman.
Yep.
But Carson would stick his head in the green room and go, "Hey, Bob, listen, have a great set tonight. You're going to not." He would do. I remember Bill Kirkenbauer was on the show, and he wanted to just play a little game with Letterman. He said, "Now open this bag," and Letterman looked like he was undergoing root canal. And I thought, the guy's on your goddamn show. Just play along. Why do you have to be a dick? Why? And why do you, why? And why are you stealing Andy's beard? Why? Why are you taking Andy?
You did take Andy's beard. I tell you what, you know what he did do, though? At the end, he did a line that was Steve Middleman's.
Stole it?
Basically used his line on his show.
Letterman did.
And something to do with Abe Lincoln. Right.
He apologized for
Letterman
it.
takes Steve Middleman. Not only apologized, but the next night he says, when I said that, it seemed like, I've heard that before, and I should have known it's a joke of Steve Middleman's, and he's done it on my show. So probably Bill Sheff got the tape.
He was also the first public figure to call Trump a racist.
Yeah, but anyway, that's true. That's true. I saw that clip too recently. But anyway, he does this, and he says, I want to apologize to Steve. We're going to give him a set. So like they gave him another spot before the show, before he left the show, because this was near the end. And he says, and he shows him, he says, we pay $75 a joke for jokes that come in that aren't from our writers. And he shows the check. He goes, we're going to get this off to Steve. And I thought that was pretty classy.
It'd be funny if he said, we're going to give him a set. It's silverware, but we're going to give him a set. Because we care. But I'll tell you one thing about him. Very loyal to his staff. Very loyal to his staff. Barbara Gaines started virtually as an intern, wound up being an EP.
Yep.
Bill Sheff stayed on that show forever. And I feel bad for Eddie Brill because he made a mistake.
He did.
One thing you guys probably noticed about those shows, all those shows, you never see interviews with the staff. It's a closed corporation. You don't talk about the show. You don't say anything about. And Eddie talked about. He was asked a question in the New York Times. You know this story.
Yeah.
And he said, "Why don't you have more female comics?" And he said something akin to, because they try to act like men, and it cost him his job. It cost him his job as a talent coordinator.
Well, Gabe Abelson lost his job there. And I can't remember the whole story around that, but he was He was on that staff.
Same kind of thing, or
I can't remember what. Basically, he had to leave, or he left. I can't remember the reason he left. It might have been family medical leave or something like that for a kid, or something. I don't know. But Bill Sheff got his job, and he was never able to come back. And I guess
it's like Gehrig and George Selkirk. Seriously, once you're gone, you're gone.
That's true. That's true.
They don't say, "Oh, listen, this guy's doing great, but we're going to fire him." Oh, no. Once you're gone, and it's not an anger thing, or it's not a dick thing. You left, we let you go. You had to go. Now this guy's here. This guy's doing great. We can't tell him goodbye.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not the Eddie Brill show. You know what I mean? So I think the feeling is.
The point.
I think the feeling is, look, this is not. If you think this is as high as you can get in show business, then you're really not thinking it right. You take this and take the experience you got here and go off and do your next thing.
And remember this about all these shows, and this is something people don't realize or pay attention to. It's not the David Letterman show. It's Late Night With. And the reason the networks do that is because if they want to dump you, it'll be Late Night With Mark Sweetman. That's the reason they do. And it was even the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson wants to leave. It's the Tonight Show starring, what's his face? I think that is his name.
Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon.
Starring Jimmy Fallon. That's why they do that.
No, it makes sense to me.
To always let you know, yep, you're here now, you're hot, you're great, and in tomorrow it'll be this guy.
Yeah.
They all do that. They all do that.
Eventually, if you get big enough, though, they do give you part of
the Carson show.
Yeah, the Carson was Carson,
and it was the Letterman show.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that.
But the thing is, if you notice too, when Carson first started, it was an NBC production. Then it became Carson Productions. They basically gave him the show, and then paid his production company to produce it in their studios. But
I read his.
It's like late night when Letterman was at NBC. Worldwide Pants was just a throw off at the end of the show.
That's
Worldwide Pants not only became a big deal when he went to CBS, but Worldwide Pants also produced Everybody Loves Raymond, and he got, you know what I mean? Once you get that production company, you were able to funnel off into other areas. So.
In a side story, Steph Curry's parents have filed for divorce. I just thought I'd throw that out.
Okay, all right.
Sonia Curry and Del Curry, 37 years of marriage. It's enough already.
All right, I got 38 and 38 in, so I feel.
I got 25.
Good job.
And this time, if I had stayed married to my first wife, we would be married for 47 years.
Oh my God. I hope to make it 47.
And it'll be and let me say this to you. There was no chance of that happening.
We've discussed your first wife before.
Nice woman. We used to date after we were divorced.
How about that?
But she said to me once, she said, "I always felt bad about marrying you." I said, "Stop it. You're getting me sexually aroused." And she said, "No, that's not what I mean. You were a rebound, and you were this nice guy, and you cared about me, and we married, but I didn't love you." And I said, "Did you think I loved you?" And she went, "You didn't?" I said, "Do you know how gorgeous you are? Do you know how gorgeous you are? You came over to my place with a bottle of wine and weed and said, 'Can I stay the weekend?' Tell me what part of my brain slipped out of my ass that I would have said no. Are you kidding?" No, you were gorgeous." She goes, "So you didn't love me?" I said, I loved a lot of things about you." She goes, "I thought I was the only one who didn't love you." I went, "God, don't you feel like a sap now?" And she had 2 kids. One is
So is Cassie your only child?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She had Kathy. Here's what happened. Her husband left her he was a lawyer. He left her for his paralegal, and they're still together.
Oh.
So that took. That took.
It's like my dad. It's like my dad and his second wife.
just they fell in love, and that took. And but when she married her husband, she was pregnant. So in those days, you got her daughter is a lawyer, and her son Joey is a radio broadcaster. Go figure. And he is the size of Butte, Montana. He's enormous. He is enormous. We had lunch together, and she said to me, my ex-wife, she goes, "Do you know one of your greatest social skills?" I said, "No." She said, "You can look at someone who's gained as much weight as Joey and not go, 'Holy shit.' You just have dinner. You don't say a word." I go, "Aren't you worried about his health? Aren't you worried? He weighs 300 pounds. She goes, "What am I going to do?" I said, "Send him to a nutritionist. Send him to a guy with a knife. Send him to somebody. Shit. He's enormous." She goes, "Nothing I can do. He's 43 years old. What am I going to do?" I go, wow. I don't know.
Did you see Bill Maher Friday night talking about obesity?
Talk about obesity?
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I don't mind him talking about obesity. I think that's fine. Okay. But he makes fun of fat people. Oh. And the thing is, when I see a real fat woman, like walking the street, and I think to myself, she didn't want to look this way. This isn't how she wants to look. Yeah. So why don't you help her?
That's what I think the same thing. If we're going to help people get their children over barbed wire to get on an airplane to come here, why can't we help people that have those second and third stomachs underneath their belt?
That's correct. I agree completely. That's one of the things it's so funny. I knew people who worked for Imus, right, for years, and I made a lot of money off of him, because of their, and they hated him. And I had no idea. And I said, and he used to make fun of fat people. So the one time I met him, and he goes, "Look at that fat." I said, "Listen, before you go any further," because I had nothing to lose, because I didn't want to work for him. I knew he was a dick. So I said, "Let me ask you a question." I said, "Your wife's a nutritionist, right? She's written books on nutrition. Why don't you stop shitting on fat people and get your wife, who makes all her money off of you, why don't you do that and help people?" And he looks at me and goes, "Go fuck yourself." I go, that's not going to help them. I said, "You're just a dick." And he goes, "Well, you're never going to be on my show." I said, "I don't want to be on your show. Why would I want to be on your show? Our next guest is Donald Trump." No, I don't want, there's no, your wife's a nutritionist. Do the right thing, bitch, And he didn't know he literally did not know how to do that. He did not know how to do that. He had no idea how to be nice to people. And I know women who worked for him, on air. And they said it was just awful. There's a woman who's the weather woman on Fox News. I can't remember her name now. She's from Canada originally. She said, just a horrible experience. Horrible.
Getting back to the issue, though, I think what Bill
Maher,
his point is that this is a public health crisis that's being shielded by anti-shaming.
Yeah.
There's got to be some way to help people without the shame.
I know a way. I do know a way. I think I told you this when I went up to Vermont. I stopped to meet a friend of mine, a woman I know for years. She's put on 100 pounds. 100 pounds. So I didn't say anything at the time because we were having lunch. I didn't want to go, holy shit, But the next time I talk to her,
you're going to finish that? Well, I guess you are.
Yeah.
You know that joke, right? Waiter walks up to an actor and goes, "Are you finished?" She goes, "Why? What have you heard?"
Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So what I want to say to her, and I'm going to say, "I'm a little worried about you. I'm a little worried about you." And she'll say, "Why?" I said, "Because you look like you're not in the best of health." That's all you got to say. And if she gets pissed off, then I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to take that risk. I'm a little worried about you because you don't look like you're in great health, and I'm concerned. Now she might say, "Well, I'm dealing with it," or she might say, "Mind your own fuck." I don't know what she's going to say, but I can't let someone who I prize as a friend keep going like that. And if she says to me, screw you, I never want to talk to you again, I'm willing to pay that price rather than sit there benignly and watch her like go down this road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think Bill is anti obesity as far as a personal trait, but as a health concern, a public health concern.
Oh
where
no, it's
Mhm.
no, it's absolute. But the if you have a friend, that's about the only way you can get to that.
yeah, I have more to say to that once we get off the air again. But
About Bill.
no, about weight and public health.
Wait.
So, anyways, a couple of things my wife had on the list I want to get here before we wrap it up here. But
Please.
We already talked about Hurricane Henri hitting Rhode Island and Derek Chauvin's demands. Oh, did you hear about COVID in Sweden? I don't know
No.
if you remember last summer. So we're talking about 2020 now. All of the anti-vax, anti-mask, everything's all right. Why don't we just get it and get it over with? And it would build up immunities like all the other viruses. They pointed to Sweden because Sweden didn't do a lockdown last summer.
Yeah.
And they had the lower rate than everyone else. See, they didn't do it. Well, now Sweden's death rate is 10 times higher than Finland and Norway and Denmark.
Yumpin' Yemeni.
I know, 10 times the death rate. So, and of course, I don't want to ask any of the people that are against vaccines and masks because they're going to have some, oops. I told my wife I wouldn't curse because she's promoting the show to her friends. But anyway.
I'm here for you.
Thank you. But anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting, an interesting stat. The other thing she mentioned that Gates did a selfie of his girlfriend. Did you catch that?
No.
Matt Gates.
No.
Oh, I said he embarrassed her with a selfie. I showed the picture to my wife. She goes, "Oh, she's beautiful." I go, No. Look at what he did. He's on an airplane, right? So let me see if I can back up to sort of get it. And he's like, I think doing one of those mugs, and he's got
God.
like now off to his left shoulder, which should be on her right because it's a selfie.
Right.
And she's like this. Wait a minute. She's like this, just snoozing away. Now, of course, she's gorgeous, but I mean, it was just such a hard hit because she obviously
so lame.
It does, and it was a horrible picture, and
I bet she's pissed at him about it.
She's gotta be. And my wife is saying, "Oh, she's beautiful." I go, "Really? If I did that to you?"
Sleep with her mouth open. There's a fly buzzing in her gums.
Exactly. I'll see if I can find it real quick. But
see, that is the way a nerd looks at life.
And by the way,
he could not turn down the opportunity to make a joke.
Yeah, and by the way, by doing that, he harms nerds.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He harms nerds. We don't have enough class, and I count myself as one. We don't have enough class or taste to know how to take a picture with a woman who could redefine our lives. No, I have to act like an ass.
I just typed in Matt Gates tweets unflattering picture of his fiance I just typed Matt Gates, and that's the first thing that comes up.
I thought you meant Bill Gates.
No, Matt Gates.
Oh my God! I thought you meant Bill Gates. Matt Gates isn't a nerd. Matt Gates is a pedophile.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my God.
I thought you were saying about Gates too. So I want to apologize to the Gates Foundation.
Oh my God.
I want to let him know that I had no intention to say that he did anything wrong.
Okay,
you're
you ready?
This right now. The only person probably watching this is Bill Gates.
All right, I'm going to use the new feature that Sam and I tried out before I started the show. This is the where I get to share a screen. Let me see if I can get this up because you guys.
Oh, that's
I have
right.
the picture. I have the picture here.
Oh,
so
God, I feel so bad.
I feel bad. Bill Gates, I know who you are. Okay, I do know. All right.
We adore you.
Bill Gates, you're all right.
Really appreciate what you've done. Thank you.
Here we go.
There's the picture. There's the picture.
Wow. Oh no, he should be beaten to death.
She's going to kill him in his sleep.
And by the way,
he's wearing a mask.
Before I saw it, I thought he should be beaten to death before I saw this.
Anyway, I wish I could shrink it, but that's there. You get the idea.
I think there's a Bobbit moment coming soon.
A bobbit.
He looks like the Joker is wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He does.
I think a bobbit moment is coming
He should
soon.
marry Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's who he should marry.
Oh,
There you go.
man.
That's a match.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's for sure.
She made in Japan. Oh, man.
And then and you can throw in Lauren Boberts,
Whose husband made like a lot of money off of something. Oh, God, they're such bad people. It's just amazing. She's from Northwest Colorado. It's just
do we have
bad
anything?
person.
Who's the bad person in our party? Who can we? I guess it would be Cuomo right now. Cuomo's the bad guy.
Yeah,
But
Cuomo,
he's not in politics anymore.
That's right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. What is it
He
about?
gave himself a 2 week notice.
Our people quit. Their people don't quit.
No, I think Cuomo is going to be a doorman at a gentleman's club. I think that's his new job.
There you go.
I think that
He's going to be a chaperone at high school dances.
doesn't it?
Oh no, that's
He'll
Get.
be the last guy at the grotto, you know? It's like, there you go.
Doesn't it astound you that he doesn't realize he did something wrong?
You know what? I don't think anybody realizes until it's pointed out to them. I don't realize I'm doing things wrong.
You're the governor of New York. You put your hand on a woman's tush and squeeze, and you don't think that that's out of line. I don't understand that. I really don't.
Yeah, well,
that's
Louis C.K. He had to know what he did was wrong. You know.
Let me tell you something. You know that thing that Carol Montgomery does, Women of a Certain Age?
Yes.
I went to it with my wife. Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. They were wonderful. But they started talking about Louis C.K. and they all know me. And I raised my hand to say, and when it was over, I realized I tore into him. I ripped him, and I'm standing, and I'm not screaming, but I tore into him, and I said, I don't understand how a man in his 40s can do that, and he doesn't get arrested. You know, forget about it's Louis. Oh, he lost money. He's got money. Louis got money. I don't understand that.
Sam, just you and me now. Andy doesn't need to be here because Andy just didn't achieve where we got in the business.
Hey, come on. There were some choices here. You could have looked out for me, you know. You could have looked out for me.
Saying,
I was the guy in the back seat. You said I was take a dive. I could make some money, but no. What kind of money? I could have been somebody, but you said no. I had my shot, but you said no. Mark, you should have looked out for me.
You said this ain't your night, not my night. I could have taken it out with one hand.
Instead, it wasn't my night.
Instead, he gets a shot.
I was in Holly. I could have headlined, but it wasn't my night. That's what you said, Mark.
Not my night. He's working in a stadium, and I'm working at Uncle Fucker's Chuckle Hutch. Jesus Christ.
I could have been Governor Corleone, Senator Corleone.
But no, not my night. Not my night. I swear to God, you know.
I love when J.D. Spradlin goes, Mr. Corleone.
Okay, thank you. But you know, okay, maybe you do not know Andy, and I'm sorry I left you out of this. But you know Sam and I know that Louis C.K. did not need that kind of attention. He could have gotten that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that do you don't understand what I'm saying?
How does he not know that's wrong? But you know, Louis has been an irresponsible guy all his life. I don't know if I told you. I think I did tell you this. He used to drive without a license. He used to drive without insurance.
You said that last week.
Without a seatbelt. Yeah. You know, so this is not like, oh, Louis did something irresponsible. I wouldn't drive in a car with Louis. He would do 90 miles an hour on the Mass Turnpike without a license. I go, forget the fact, you know, I feel like you're trying to kill me. Okay. You don't have a license. He goes, yeah, I don't need one. You know, who raised you? I didn't say that, but who raised you that you know? So when you take out your penis and you're jerking off in front of these two 21-year-old girls who go, oh my God, this is Louis C.K. I can't believe this is happening. I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what to do. It's not rape. It's not sexual. But if I was their father, he'd be in court.
Well, it's kind of narcissism is basically what he is. He doesn't believe.
He doesn't.
It's probably narcissism is what he is.
Let me ask you something. Is it narcissism or sociopathy?
I don't know. I think narcissism doesn't believe it's always about you, and it's basically no matter what, everything should be about you. So you should be above everything that you do.
But
they're not doing anything wrong.
That would be me.
Go ahead. But sociopathy is, I'm just going, I don't feel anything about this. I don't feel guilt. I don't feel, nothing. I don't feel not a dram of guilt. And I don't think he does.
Yeah.
I don't
you have
think
no shame. Yeah. No shame at all.
It's the, all right, I'm sorry. You happy tour?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, being a sidekick shows you a lot of things, because almost every time I went on the road to somebody, the headliner, married or not, mostly married, was always trying to score with a waitress. And it was always like that thing, whatever happens on the road stays on the road. And I usually said, if you're doing that, don't introduce me to your wife.
Well,
whatever you do, if she asks me to be truthful, I'm going to be truthful. So don't introduce me to your wife.
The last 2 or 3 years that I was doing stand-up, I was working with this guy who was married. And what I hated about him was he talked about, my wife, my kids, my wife, and he was a whore. And so he was a whore. And so he said to me, these 2 girls want to take us out for a drink. And I said, well, there's 3 reasons I can't. And he goes, what are they? And I wanted to be straight with him. I wasn't scolding him. I said, number 1, I don't drink. Okay. Number 2, I'm married. And number 3, I don't know how old she is, but I think I could be her grandfather. And I'm not, and she, and unless her name is Heidi, then, I can't do this. And he goes,
all right,
but if you don't do this, then I'm going to be, I said, I don't care if you score. I'm not going to do it.
We're past 90 minutes, and I got 2 more things on Susan's list. We'll do them quick, and we'll ramp it up, and we'll see everybody again next week. I got...
yes, sir. Let's go.
Jeopardy host Mike Richards quits after only recording 5 episodes. Now, that
Piece
to me...
shit.
Well, that to me, you know what? That was... Forget what
that
he did.
That to me is karma.
That is karma, but I'm telling
karma.
You, that whole thing, doing a whole 6 months of parading guest hosts, only to name yourself as the permanent host,
is beyond
belief. That's like George Steinbrenner naming himself the starting pitcher for the
by the way,
Yankees.
let me say this very quickly. And Mayim Bialik saying, well, these women who flirt with men, I dress modestly. Mayim, 80-year-old women get raped. 80-year-old women get raped. She's an idiot. That's all I want to say. You're an idiot. Oh, I dress modestly. Oh, like they won't rip your habda off? Get the fuck it. Come on. I'm sorry, but that pissed me off. I don't think she should be on the show.
Well,
damn Orthodox Jews.
Yeah. Well, when she revealed that she ate her own in a pill form, but she ate her own placenta.
She did.
You could have stopped at
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So much for my Brussels sprouts. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm going to have to add something a little stronger.
I'm sorry, the umbilical cord, whatever it was. There's a movement to eat that stuff.
Oh man, placenta. Worst name for a child ever. Man, ever. Oh God!
But those scientists, they're a little cracky on some sides.
They're wacky.
Anyway, it's time to go. And Kathy, sorry we missed you this week. And hey, I think that could be a good segment.
Afterwards, or are we completely going away?
Yeah, we're staying afterwards because I got stuff to talk about. But
all right, let's talk dirt and say goodbye to the people.
Exactly. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next month. Every Monday night at 8:00. Join us here on YouTube or whatever Facebook channel you're watching this. It's all through YouTube. I link everything to the YouTube. So even if you're watching it on Facebook, you can comment on Facebook if you go to the Facebook page and find it. I don't think the YouTube ones or the Facebook ones don't come through. If you want to join us, I usually publish that. If you'd like to join the gang of mirth makers here and get your digs in at people, then let me know ahead of time. I'll put you on the show. And we'll see everybody next
Star Trek we're talking about. So.
Oh, there you go. I like that. We'll see everybody. We'll see everybody next Monday night. So long, everyone.